Is my screen visible?
Yes, Pramila.
So in the so we continue with cultural studies and versus political economy. And cultural study is a field of theoretically, politically, and empirically engaged cultural analysis that concentrates upon the political dynamics of contemporary culture. Its a historical foundation, defining traits, conflicts, and contingencies and about in the political economy is an interdisciplinary branch of the social sciences that focuses on the uh, interrelationships among individuals, governments, and public policy. Political economists study how economic theories such as capitalism, socialism, and communism work in the real world. And in the political economy and cultural studies are considered to be the two main theoretical approaches in media studies, and they have enjoyed a relationship of antagonism on several levels. And put crudely, political economy views the media as promoting the dominant ideology of the ruling classes. In spite of their liberating potential, the media of modern mass communication have contributed to the creation of new levels of uh, social stratification, communication classes, which in turn engender new forms of domination. The mass media are uh, proliferation and overwhelm of other forms of non-mass media. And the cultural studies approach starts with the basic arguments that the mass media gives us citizens of the mass media, people who are able to manipulate uh, imagery and information for their own ends. And through this social and political agency occurs, offering a possibility of oppositional political projects emerging. And in the considering the divide about conflict and continuity, apparent conflict between political economy and cultural studies have been rehearsed on several occasions. It is depicted variously as the disagreement over has been how to theorize power and culture between scholars who hold on to Marxian premise of labor or class in relational analysis, and those who recite this approach as a split between studies of production and studies in consumption. And Kellner in 1989 states that the Frankfurt School of the 1930s was the first to incorporate both culture and communications in the critical social theory of mass communication. And after it, in 1989, Kellner maintains that the interdisciplinary approach of the Frankfurt School integrated political economy and cultural studies within the context of capitalist society and the manner in which culture and communications were produced and the roles they played. And the other figure, Stuart Hall's article "Encoding and Decoding in Television Discourse," which was first presented in the early 1970s, provided the impetus for active audience studies. Hall believed that more attention should be paid to the practice of interpretative work in the decoding of televisual signs by audience, and in particular how that reception frequently involved the active transformation of meaning. He predicated that such a realization promised a new and exciting phase in so-called audience rehearse, and quite a new kind. And about the political economy, it is historical, paying close attention to long-term changes in the role of the state, corporations, and the media in culture. And critical political economy is certainly concerned with the balance between private enterprise and public interventions. And Herman and Chomsky, on the political economy and cultural studies, they quote that the mass media serve as a system for communicating message and symbols to the general populace. It is their function to amuse, entertain, and inform, and to inculcate individuals with values, beliefs, and codes of behavior that will integrate them into the institutional structures of a large society. And Herman, in of in this political economy and versus cultural studies, reference by Herman and Chomsky. They also said that their propaganda was model is that based on media filters through which information must pass before it can reach the public. The first filter, limitations of media ownership, is the result of a process of consolidation that began in the 19th century. uh, by 2000, there were 10 major players in the global entertainment and media industries: Disney, General Electric, and all-time owner Sony, News Corporation, Viacom, Vivendi, uh, Bert, Bertelsmann, AT&T, and Liberty Media. Though not all of these are dedicated media companies, all develop, produce, and distribute a plethora of disparate cultural products in many countries through countless and corporate entities. And about the Golding and Murdoch, they, in their own words, they said that sets out to show how different ways of financing and organizing cultural production have uh, traceable consequences of the range of discourses and representations of the public domain, and for audience accesses to them. Uh, in the critical political economy, classically, the theorists adopting this approach point to the fact that media production has been increasingly commanded by large corporations and molded to their interest and strategies in recent years. We have seen a push towards privatization and the declining vitality of public-funded cultural insti- institutions. And in the cultural studies, the quote by Kellner, uh, They said that cultural studies is cross-disciplinary and embraces social theory, cultural analysis and critique in an academic project that draws on the humanities, sociology, social policy, social psychology, politics, anthropology, women's studies, and social geography, among others. At its core is a concern with a critique of the configuration of uh, culture and society with its sight fixed firmly on social transformation, and the Birmingham Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, now disbanded, was not, as many have criticized cultural studies in general, as being a historical particularist and or ideologist and idealist. Rather, its work was more often materialist in analyzing socio-historical conditions and structures of domination and resistance. Also, Kellner, in 1989, notes that its work could be defined by its attempt to critique the crucial political problems of their age. The focus on feminism was influenced by the feminist movement, while the turn towards race was motivated by anti-racist struggle of the day. In other words, the focus of British cultural studies at any given moment has been determined by the struggles in the contemporary policy. Their studies of ideology, domination and resistance, and the politics of culture directed cultural studies towards analyzing cultural artifacts, practices, and institutions within exciting networks of power, and of showing how culture both provided tools and forces, domination and resources for resistance and struggle. And here is my work citations. Thank you.